Thank you, Danny and Brigitte. What a delight! The sort of climax of the afternoon to talk about HRFA. How do you pronounce that?
No, it's how you sneeze that.
So you need a microphone. Sorry.
It's not how you pronounce it; it's how you sneeze it.
Oh, you've been practicing. I can see. No, but seriously, when you go around talking to people and you say, "I'm in this department," what do you say? HRFA?
Now we had a lot
or do you
of
say
brain.
HRFA? Or
Now we say we try to make your job easier. That's what we try to say.
okay. I mean, I would have thought it was something like people and resources. Would that? I mean, HRFA. I mean, all these. We're so many acronyms. People and resources.
People. Well, as you saw this morning, people is a shared function.
Yes.
So if we
And resources is the other side.
well, it would be definitely those are but we thought that if we had that kind of title, then we would appropriate either people or resources. So we didn't want to do that. Our role is to support people who manage who manage other people or who manage resources. We're managing very few resources of our own. We're just there to help most people manage.
Okay, we'll come to that in a moment. I just thought it had a nice little acronym because it's called PAR, P-A-R, and we could say whether you were above par or below par or something like that. A lot of golfers, around here. Okay, now you have this. Your theme word is that it's not rocket science. I mean, this is what you put there in that thing that's shaped like a rocket going in that direction. And I've got my copy here, and I notice you've got your copy there. I just the history is. I mean, we've had Margaret on human resources, and Susan, and then Veronica came in, and then Verity came in, and now Veronica has came in. Perhaps it is rocket science.
From one planet to the other, that is different. From the planet where we are to the planet of science, maybe.
But do you not think that it is? We clearly have a difficulty thinking about this and thinking through what the issues are. So why do you say not rocket science? What is the basis for your statement?
Why we chose this is to say that we can do it. It's possible. It's not so complicated. It requires skills, it requires knowledge, it requires the right attitude, but we can do it.
We can do it.
We can do the plan. We can help scientists do a better job.
Okay, which brings me to the question I should have asked at the beginning. I mean, to trying to do the plan, you've got lots of energy, you're always busy, and you're running around and bombarding us with things. Are you a control freak?
No, I think I'm quite the opposite, but when you come into a new position, you need to try to explain to people what your vision could be. But they will come back to you, and that's how we came up with this. This is not mine, this is from the whole team. And now pushing it much further than I would have pushed it myself. So that's what I like. Like you saw this morning, we have a team. We're trying to have an empowered team who will go much, much further than any individual could ever go.
Okay, but still, you said you're trying to communicate with people since you've been here, whatever. It's quite a lot of volume. I mean, if you look at, we'll come on to this diagram you've got there. I mean, there are 6 objectives, and they each ranges from 16 to the shortest one to 37 words. We've seen all sorts of documents that have come through on different policies, and that is the old ILRI policy manual. So clearly, as far as you're concerned, size matters, and I'm just so much information and so on. Is that necessary? Is that really important?
Well, it's like a house, so you need to have a foundation before you can build up the walls. And in administration, we had some foundations, but not all the foundations. So we need to finish building the foundations, and that's the policies that we need to have. So maybe I've gone a little bit fast.
You've gone
okay.
fast. You think you've gone fast? Okay.
No, I don't think I've gone fast enough. People tell me I'm going fast. I don't think I'm going fast enough. But
one thing before we get into each of these, I just want to. You've got objectives on this side, and clients and partners, purpose and mission. But one thing I notice is that there are no outputs. And there are no outcomes.
This is just...
This is what we now are being driven into producing, and you haven't done this on your great plan.
It's all about process. Now we have the outcome is for... This is also a summary of talking about volume. We have a lot of activities that underlie those objectives. This was just to share with other people in the institute what we're trying to achieve. So it's just, you're not seeing the whole picture. But the outcome, the outputs, we have them in our own plan. The outcome is that we try to live up to our statement of purpose, and we can help people do a better job.
At some stage, the outputs and outcomes are going to be as important to you as they are to us.
They are important to us. That's a little bit, it's not as well articulated maybe as in a research framework, log frame, but this is a little bit, our outputs are not here.
And you have a log frame too, do you?
Not really, we have this.
And do you get away with that?
We don't have a science council, you know.
Okay, touche. Right, let's go through some of these things. Let's look at these six things. Number one is East Africa and CG initiatives. So that's the East African CG initiatives, the amalgamation, the external program and management review, and Becca. That's your first.
Yeah, well, why we put it first is because we don't know how it's going to pan out. Okay. We feel that we have a better handle on the other objectives, but we put it first because it can influence how well we deliver on the other objectives. Because depending on where we go with the CG in East Africa, it could completely change the way we work. Depending on the results of the EPMR, we don't know what they are going to be, so they could also impact on what we do. And the implementation of Becca is quite a big. At the time that we wrote the plan, we didn't know. We have a much better idea now. But
so why do you put it last then? I mean, why do you put it first?
Because it could impact everything else. How well we achieve our other objectives, depending on the outcomes of those.
Okay. Number two is integrating with your customers.
Yes.
On the one, planning, and the two, understanding of policies. Customers being?
All of you. Everybody at ILRI. And even outside. I mean, we're working a lot with the other CG centers. Even our suppliers, we're working with them. So we have a lot of customers.
The next one is people management,
yes,
which is divided into two. On the one hand, making sure you behave, and on the other hand, rewarding for good behavior.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, that's the way
not quite our way to look at it, but it's okay.
Well, that's the way I interpreted it. Number four is finance, which is getting your own act together. Is that correct?
No, this one said, okay, to help improve the management of financial and material resources.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah? No, finance is not our own house only. We can get our house in order to a certain extent,
okay,
but then we hand the ball over to you. Because again, we're not managing budgets. We are there to give you the tools to manage your own budgets.
And that is terrible. I mean, in the old days, I remember we used to. You or your predecessors did such a great job sometimes on managing their projects, and now we have to do all these spreadsheets and adding with all the other things that John is telling us to do. I mean, is that fair?
Well, you have a choice. Yeah. I think if you want to achieve the results you want to achieve, you have to manage your resources as well as you can. So we're there to help you. We don't want to manage the resources for you, because managing resources is making decisions on the outcome of your work. So we're not qualified to do that. You have to do it. We will help you.
But you are there to help.
You are there to help.
Well, somebody likes what you're saying. I'm glad to see you brought them all in here.
I forced them.
The next one is talking about servicing ILRI, new servicing, providing services, new ways to interact with our customers. What are these new ways?
What are the new ways? I think you can see it a little bit. We are starting already in operations in Nairobi, to be listening or to be a lot more to our customers. What do you want? What do you like? What don't you like? And based on that, to change the way we do our work.
Okay, one thing is to say listening, what you like, what you want, don't like, whatever. The other thing is to do, because services mean services in which things get done.
Yes. And we've done quite a bit. We are working on that. The problem with the administration, before you can see, as a customer, you can see the outcome. We have to do a lot of work in-house. So we started in finance on that. We're just starting on HR now. And we're starting on operations since November. Since Isaac came in Nairobi, we are working on operations as well.
Okay, now a question on that, because one of the key issues in providing services is providing motivation for giving those services.
Yes.
And we've heard, when I mentioned services, that Ed's program might provide services, he gets very upset. And last year, Patty got upset thinking of servicing, because there've got to be incentives for that. Now, I can thinking in my distant days of living in Zambia, where they had state farms, and state farms is when you get up every morning and you are paid a salary and you're supposed to farm, and it doesn't work. Here we're talking about people providing services. What are the incentives to make that actually happen?
Well, there are incentives at several levels. The bigger level is to feel that you're part of this chain. Yes, that, as you saw in the survey, a lot of people who answered the survey, and they were not all scientists, believe in the mission of ILRI. So at least that's one thing, how to create motivation is to show to staff in let's say in engineering or in security or in housing and catering, how they can help you do this, achieve the mission. That's one thing. And then at a much more, now as you go down in the level, in the unit, how you create motivation with the staff. So we're changing actually the way that those staff members have been managed. We're introducing new management tools for those people, and that may change also the way that they are rewarded. So we're looking at those things, we're discussing those things. Because obviously you don't reward a scientist the same way you reward a driver or an engineer.
Well, I mean, I presume one should. So there will be incentives for people to do things well.
Yes, there are incentives now, but we need to structure them better.
Okay. So now I'm going to come on to some of these other. You're in the process of developing various policies, and I brought a few of them along. You've got at the moment you've got travel, conflict of interest, space. That's buildings, I presume, not outer space. Outposted staff.
Authorization policy, which is key.
Authorization policy. What has it taken to get these together? How well are they accepted, and are they all in place?
No, then it was a learning experience last year, because frankly I didn't know ILRI. I'm not sure I know it now yet, but I thought that by circulating, because when I came and I talked to a lot of people were saying we didn't feel that there are policies, we don't participate, etc. So I opened the Pandora's box and I circulated the draft to everybody, and then everybody got fed up with them. So we have to find a better way to do that. So we are working on that, and I think now it will be a little bit different the way we develop policies, but we have a lot of policies to develop yet.
Well, a couple of things. Despite the fact that people didn't like that, have you got some constructive? Did you get constructive feedback into those?
We did some, but I have to thank the 4 or 5 people who constantly give me feedback out of administration. And yes, but for instance, you asked Acho provided very good
message to
they know who they are. Acho provided very good feedback for the outpost manual. So that's the kind of feedback we're looking for.
Tell me, you said that it was really necessary to get these new policies in place. Why was that? Was there a lot of abuse of travel and conflict of interest and things?
It's not a question of controlling or decreasing abuse. What we want is to make, again, people's job easier. I had somebody this morning, I almost fell off my chair. Somebody thanked me for the travel policy, because they said when I came, I didn't know what I was entitled to, what I was supposed to do. Now I understand. So that's what exactly what we're trying to do.
But one of the criticisms might be that it goes a little bit too far. Now, for example, I don't like to bring my personal things into these discussions, but I'm going to give one that going up to Addis Ababa, and we had this little conversation, you and I, and I had to work out how much, how many nights I was going to be there, this and then, and I put in that I needed $150 and sent it in, and someone wrote back and said, no, we've calculated you only need $120, so I felt that was going a little bit too far.
It's going too far. We agree. So we worked with the staff member to understand what the spirit of the policy was. And the spirit of the policy, again, is not control. It's saying, the policy itself says it. You approximate, you give a little cushion, and then that's it. But you don't want, for instance, we had cases where you don't want people to ask for too much money. We're also responsible to mind the resources. So we cannot give advances without. We need some basis.
There are two things there. One is the policy, but the other is that I'm worried that you've got people that are running around and checking the difference between $150 and $120. They don't. Okay.
Talk to them. They understand now very well.
I have to ask you. I've been given a little bit of a nod here about time. I have to ask you the question that I asked John at the end. Do you enjoy your job?
I will say the same thing he says most days.
Brigitte, thank you very much indeed.